Welcome to the space where knowledge meets the action. Welcome to the Empowering Show, where we break down the barriers, helping you grow. Financial literacy, speaking truth to the power. Real conversation, changing lives by the hour. We inspire to change, here we challenge the status quo. Sharing tools for building wealth, watching your seeds grow. Empower you to take control of your future. No more living in the past, we're the authors of the sutra. Get ready, get set, let the movement begin. Because empowerment starts now, let the light in.
Good evening. Good evening. It is 6 o'clock. Thank you guys for tuning in. We truly, truly appreciate it. As usual, we kind of like to start off this show by looking for something to be grateful for. My name is Kendall Stevenson, and I am very grateful to say I am because we are. Now, that's kind of like old African proverb. It kind of means we're all in the same boat, if you want to cut it to the short. I'm the host of the show. This is Politricks. My name is Kendall Stevenson, and along with me, we have my brother. Boom. Hello, Mr. Yates, Mr. Ronald Yates. He is our analyst. He's the man that has the answer to all the plans. Well, he has all the answers anyway. And there's a lot of nonsense that's going on around the world. Hotep, brother. There's a lot of nonsense going around the world. A lot of nonsense going on with this brother Trump. I don't know what his problem is. Did you see? I was looking online and I saw where he looked like he was Jesus Christ, had his hand over somebody. Did you see that?
I did.
Well, now this is not cult-like?
Well, here's an interesting question. There are a number of preachers in this country that have been backing Trump, that have been asking their congregations to support Trump. There is one sin that is unforgivable. It's the Holy Spirit. And to say that you are God, or to come in the likeness and image of God, and to say you are doing the things that only God can do, is clearly blasphemy. How do these members of the clergy now explain their continued support for Trump? I'd like to be the fly on the wall.
Well, let's be the fly on the wall today, because today we got a brother. His name is Dr. Brown, and Dr. Brown is a minister. He's a pastor. He's ordained. So why don't we bring that brother in? Hey, what's going on, Dr. Brown? How you feeling?
I'm fine. How you doing?
We're doing all right. So
Pennsylvania.
Just to let you know, my man Dr. Brown is from DC. So this is where he's coming out of today. He's coming out of Washington, D.C. Now, he is also a pastor. So we had a question earlier about Trump and about him playing God. I don't know if you saw the poster that they had it posted online about him putting his hand over somebody, healing them like if he was Jesus Christ. So we wanted to ask you, how did you feel about that?
Well, it just goes to prove that this man is not right. He's not well. And, even the way he tries to explain it and to downplay it, talking about he thought that they were going to portray him as being a doctor and stuff. But it's like, if that was the case, you wouldn't have the adornment of the Christ, with the shrouds and different things. You would have a stethoscope or something that connotates being of the medical profession. That's not there. He's laying hands. He's not doing anything with a stethoscope or blood pressure cuff. You're laying hands on people. So, right. If anything, it really is concerning, because now you're putting yourself in a different light of, thinking you are a god of some sort, and things. And then also, this is the same man that has been in conflict with the Pope, where there's 9 billion Catholics in the world and stuff. So he is just digging a hole. As far as I'm concerned, he's just digging a hole. You know,
He's not acting like your typical politician, someone who
right,
has some decor about him. Now
right.
we happen to live, myself and Ronald Yates, the district that we happen to live in is the 176. The guy that we've been having over there has not. He made a lot of promises, but he hasn't delivered on any of them. So we're looking to maybe exchange him, like you would turn in an old car and get ourselves a better one. Well, we do have a young man that wants to put his name on the ballot, and he is a politician. And I'm going to introduce him in a minute. His name is Tom KUCER. Hello, sir. How are you? Can you hear us?
How you doing, Kendall? How you doing, Mr. Yates?
How are you?
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Good.
Yes,
good.
we can.
How you doing, Mr. Yates?
We were just.
I'm good, thank you.
How are you guys?
Right. We were just talking about we were just talking about Donald Trump, but and then we slid on over into the 176 district, which is my man's neighbor, Jack, and you know, personally living in this environment, I've been living here for 26 years, and he's been in that seat for quite a while, and the promises that he was that he made, he hasn't been able to keep up on any of them. How do you stand fair with that? Because if you want to be in that position, there are issues that's going to have to be taken care of.
Well, in your position, I'm here 23 years over in Hamilton Township, so I kind of feel where you're coming from. I feel like if there are issues that need to be addressed, I'll be around. That's the biggest thing. Is my understanding is he doesn't show up, and I'm willing to show up for everything. I'm willing to make a change in the way things have been here for the last 23 years, or in your case, 26.
Well, there's one of the things that both myself and Ron we complained about was the property taxes. That's one of the biggest issues I think that we have right now, is that this property tax. We're paying all of this property tax money, but what are we getting in return for it? Taxation with no representation. So what are we getting in return for all these taxes? And is there possibly a way that we can either eliminate the property tax or at least reduce it?
I'd like to see it eliminated. Florida did it. For you, amazing, isn't it? Yes, I'd like to see it eliminated. Florida did it. How they can do it with a Republican governor, Ron DeSantis? Why can't we do that? Or, like you said, at least get some kind of handle on it, drop it down somewhere, because it's really extreme, especially in Hamilton.
I have something I'd like to add. But first, I'd like to go back to Dr. Brown. And you said that Trump is not right. Well, a couple of scriptures come to mind. And the first one is that the Bible says that in the last days, many will come and say that I am. And there's another scripture that came to mind, and it says, if you are ashamed of me in front of man, I will be ashamed of you in front of my Father. So my question is, why are not pastors and members of the clergy being more forceful as it relates to Trump? Because according to the scripture, blasphemy against the Holy Spirit is unforgivable. And what Trump is doing, right? Trump fits the description of the Antichrist, right? So I haven't seen the church come out and be more forceful with the president. And now to you, sir, about
I want to say something, Ron. I just want to cut in for a second. I'm sorry about that. I like to speak to this person that's called Gen X. Apparently, they say, yeah, we have representation. We have the House of Representation, and that's supposedly our representation. Well, Britain was a representation for a long time, long before America got here, and they spread all those colonies out, but yet we still got into a war because the people here were not being represented. Now, here in this country, we are not being represented. I don't care if we have a House of Representative or whatever administration that we have. That's not filtering down to us. Not when we still have to pay high gas prices. Not when we're being told our kids and we're going to be sent off to a war without having proper authority to do so. not with the country so much in dismay and everything is going on wrong around the world, please don't tell me about the representation that we have, because we don't have any. Not unless you plan on going into office. Thank you very much, sir. I'm sorry about that, Ron. Do you?
That's okay. Now, Tom,
Yes.
now I live right around the corner from Jack Rader. I've known Jack Rader pretty much since I've been here. I bought my property from his parents. I've been here for 31 years. You sound like a New Yorker. I'm also a New Yorker from Brooklyn, as is Kendall. But here's my my dilemma. Right now, the Republican Party, I don't see a viable platform for them. I don't see them going to their constituents, being able to say, this is what we've done for you in this last term. The promises that the president made, things like bringing down the cost of living, bringing down gas prices, this is supposed to be a temporary, this pain is only supposed to be temporary, making America profitable again. None of that has been accomplished. In fact, he's not even trying. And the Republican Party is going to be hard pressed to find one issue that they can run on. However, for the Democrats, it's going to be a similar problem, because the people in this country are going to want to know, what did the Democrats do to bring down prices? What did the Democrats do to prevent us from getting into an unprovoked and ill-advised war? What are the Democrats doing to restore health care to millions of Americans that have lost it? What are the Democrats doing to restore programs like food assistance, like SNAP, back to those poor families in this country that are suffering? So you have two parties, right, with similar issues. Both of them have to go and present an argument to the American people. Why should we send you back to Washington, or at a local level? You know,
well, I like to drop this in there. This is what I would say to that, Ron. Not to disagree with you, but this is what I would say to that. Under the Trump administration, the things that have been done have not been done by law. This has been illegal. They've been done by executive order. Okay, so when things are done by executive order, me as a Democrat or anyone else, unless we can change that executive order, which would have to take an act from Congress in order to do, it's not going to be changed until Congress gets involved and actually, what they say, get some cojones. That's kind of what it is, because Congress holds the purse strings, not the Democrats. The Congress holds the purse strings, right?
But as we discussed last week with the attorney, these signing statements of these executive orders are not law. These are only executive orders to the federal branch of the government, nothing to do with state and local. So for us, right, it really has no bearing on us, an executive order, right? But that makes it even worse, that our government, that our president is ruling by fiat or by decree, and that this is allowed to happen, right? So,
but this has not been allowed to happen in previous administrations. You know, all the presidents, yes, they have the power of to utilize it, but they all haven't done it without going through, especially the Democrats, without at least following the law by utilizing Congress or getting Congress involved. They you know, when things happen with over there, we didn't call up the oil company and say, hey, we're getting ready to go do this here. Come on down and check it out, long before we involved anybody here. He's not doing things correctly. It's all unprecedented, and it's all illegal.
It's not unprecedented. You have to understand something. This country went to war in Southeast Asia without the backing of Congress. That was called a police action. It was a full-scale war, but to avoid going to Congress to seek approval, it was called a police action. And that was not a Republican, right?
But it was never declared a war. It was never declared a war.
But it doesn't matter how many people died. 4 million Cambodians, Laotians, and Vietnamese, and 58,000 Americans. And those are the ones that we were able to count. So whether you call it a police action or a war, the outcome is the same. Massive destruction and unprecedented levels of death, right? So all of them try to go around Congress to accomplish their goals. But the problem here that I'm trying to get across is that for the Democrats, you have to be able to present something to the American people so they can say you are the obvious choice. Because even though Trump, his poll numbers are in the toilet, Trump still has the power of the bully pulpit and still has Congress at his disposal. And all it takes is for Trump to begin to release money to give out, say, things like what they give when they gave a stimulus package. Trump didn't want to do it initially. But what if he wants to do it now? How many people that are hurting right now are not going to say, I need this money, and I'm going to take this money to feed my family, to put fuel in my car, and to put food on the table. And if it means dealing with Trump for another 3 years, I'll do it. What
But you know,
are the
he took
Democrats
credit for
going to
something that
present?
he didn't do. You know, he
I
took credit for
just,
something that he did not do, right?
I
mean,
just said he,
that stimulus check, he actually did not administer that, and that went
but
through
you
Congress.
just,
And that was
but
Nancy
I just
Pelosi.
said, yep, yeah. But the first thing I said was Trump did not want to do it. I said that.
Right.
What I'm
Okay.
saying is
Right
he
on,
may
brother.
want to do it this time in
Right.
order to
Like
buy
on his
votes,
money,
to buy
money
support,
on his name.
right?
Let me just ask Tom a question. Tom, so back here at home, I'm sorry, did we lose Tom? Let me Tom, there you go.
I
So
think he's
Tom,
coming back.
I'm back.
I got him back.
Yeah.
Back. So Tom, what are your
I'm here.
plans here in the 176? What do you plan on changing or adding on, or what's going on? Because it's coming up in May, and you're not on the ballot. You actually want to be a sign-in. Is that correct?
I don't
Can
know
you hear
if
me,
it's
Tom?
my provider.
We can
Tom,
hear
can you
you.
hear me? I just wondering if Tom can hear me.
Okay.
He's there.
Okay.
I can hear him, but he can't hear
Yes,
me.
I can hear you. Go ahead, Kendall.
Okay, so the question was if and when you should happen to get in that
I keep
position.
losing pictures, so let's keep trying.
All right. If
What
and
was
when
the-
you should happen to get
Sir?
into that position, what are your plans and how do you plan on making any changes within the 176 in order to help
He's
us here,
losing him.
the residents here? All right, he's losing us, brother. He's I don't think he can hear us very
Okay.
well. Yeah, I don't think he can hear us very well. Anyway, there was a question that was someone put forth about being a Democrat. I thought it was a pretty good question or an answer to a question. And Ron, maybe we could make this happen. What they said is if we can get a Republican or have two Republicans and two Democrats on at the same time on a panel. You got me?
That would be great. That would be great. I think that would be a wonderful idea.
Right. I think so too. This way we can get both sides. Tom, can you hear me? Tom, can you hear me?
I got you now. Go ahead,
Tom,
sir.
you can hear me.
I
Okay,
hear
so
you.
the question is, if and when
Yes,
you
I hear
get
you.
into that position, because you are coming in as a write into the ballot, right? What are your plans for the residents of the 176 that'll be different from what your predecessor is doing?
Well, I don't want to go around say what he's not. I don't know if you guys can still hear me, but I know he voted against raising the minimum wage. He voted was it for equal pay for everybody, for all. He voted against that. The right to work, workers' rights. He's voting against that as well. So I want to change all of that. He's also, my understanding for what he did is his money stays up in Jackson Township and down at Polk. He doesn't distribute it to the rest of the district. There's 6 other towns in this district, and they're not getting represented at all. So I want to try.
And
to
this is
spread
why
the wealth
it's
to
so
everybody.
important that to put in the office the people that you want to put in office, because you have to remember that politics is about resources and distributing resources as to where they're going to be. So I guess Jack has his favorite, so to where he wants to distribute the resources. Now, those counties that he's distributing to, are those affluent counties, or those counties, are they impoverished public school?
I know Polk is probably more farming. I think farm county, and then Jackson's probably affluent. They're pretty tight knit district over there. I know Rosemary Brown is also a big favorite up there as well. But we got to change the Senate too, because everything the Democrats have been sending up to the Senate has been denied by the Senate, has been voted down, or just sits there. They just passed 4 big bills in the last 2-3 weeks, and nothing is getting done in the Senate. And we need Democratic senators as well. I don't want to plug anybody's name, but I like Brian Wrightson.
I feel my man. He said, I can't breathe. He said, I can't breathe. He got something to say. Come on with it, Ron. I feel you.
Go ahead.
Well,
Mr. Yates.
Here's the thing, right? We talk in terms of there being this major, I guess, divide between the two parties. However, of the 535 members of Congress, how many don't take money from lobbyists like AIPAC? How many don't take money from the gun lobby? How many don't take money from the fossil fuel industry? So when you consider that the Democratic donors are also the same people who are the Republican donors, when there's 2 horses in the race and you back both of them, how do you lose? The problem here is that our system, our political system, is fundamentally broken. Right now, this country has become disillusioned with Trump and his policies. And now, in the last year or so, if you look at the number of state, local, and even national races, right? Gubernatorial races, senatorial races, state senate. Currently, the Democrats are up about 30-0 right now. And if that trend continues, you can expect a shift in the House. But it's like before you buy a car, you want to take it on a test drive, right? You want to know that you're going to get a good warranty. The engine sounds good, right? That everything works on that car before you're going to put your hard-earned money down. What the American people need to know and have a right to know is, what are the Democrats going to do to reverse what has been happening to this country in the last year since Donald Trump has taken over?
That's a damn good question. I mean, really, that's a good question as to what do we think the Democrats are? What do we think the Democrats should do? I guess that would be like a question to ask, because a lot of changes under this administration have been made. So how do we revert, if you want to say? I don't think we're going to revert. There's got a way that we have to move forward. We got to progress and make some changes that can't be changed. Because apparently you can use the executive order, but you can bypass the Constitution. You understand? And still get things done. You can bypass, I don't know, like the Supreme Court, and even though they tell you can't do, but you still do it anyway. Or we were talking about before that with what's her name, Christy Knowles, where's that $143 million? Where's that money gone? I mean, to me right now, what I see, this administration, this is the most corrupt administration that I've seen. I've been on the planet for 60 plus years. So I've seen them coming, I've seen them go. And I'm telling you, straight up, this is the most corrupt administration I've seen. The only people that's benefiting are people who already have money. The people that don't need money, the billionaires. I see them making money left and right. I see this president, he's making so much money by being a president. his kids are making so much money. I mean, these people are getting rich, but this money is coming from where? Isn't this money coming out of our tax dollars? When he talks about, I'm going to send trillions of dollars to Israel, or I'm going to send trillions of dollars over to, we're going to fight this war. You heard what he said. He said, we got to send 38, 39 trillion dollars to fight a war. But you know what? We don't have any money over here for Medicaid, Medicare. We don't have any money for Social Security. We don't have any money for the SNAP program. In other words, we don't have anything for the American people. You understand? Period. Because the American people right now are just pawns. They're just suckers. And LBJ said it best, man. When he talked about that you can give somebody to look down upon and then you could take everything out of his pocket. As a matter of fact, that man will give you everything as long as you give him somebody to look down upon. Well, that's what this administration has done. First, it was black people. Then it was the migrants, right? Oh, the migrants, they're coming. Then the Haitians were eating the dogs, right? The dogs and the cat. Oh, then we had the thing with Venezuela. All these drug dealers are coming into the country. Get out of here, please. Now with Iran with the nuclear weapons. The nuclear weapons where the stockpile has been depleted since Obama. There was already something in play that their stockpile was going down already. So
Kendall?
you know, if American people can't see that, man, they're in trouble. A lot of trouble.
Kendall,
Sir.
Yeah, we really didn't give Tom a chance to respond, right? You're kind of testifying, and you never really gave him a chance to respond. Yeah,
John, please respond. I'm sorry. I get hooked up into this whole thing with my brother over here, Ashe, and we really get into the conversations, you know. And
Kendall went off. I was letting him go.
But I went on a little tantrum here. But now it's your turn
here in the state, and I know if I do get in on the if I do get up on the ballot, I do hope that I can make a difference. We're supposed to around here as far as affordable housing. I'd like to see there are going to be fines imposed on these data centers and these warehouses. Where does that money go? That's what I want to know. Why can't we shift that or redirect that into affordable housing programs? We got like the Pennsylvania Finance Housing Agency, the PFHA, and then we also have is the United Way. They do a very good job with they have a hub for resources for people that need housing. And it's not just people to buy houses, it's for people that rent. So why can't we redirect the funds from these fines and penalties into those areas? That's what I'd like to see.
Dr. Brown?
Yeah.
Well, also, Tom, I'm referring to
hear something from Dr. Brown. His mic is cut down. And we already know that he disrespected the Pope and whatnot, Pope Leo. He said some really disgusting and nasty things about him. So, we got to get into that too. Talk to me.
Yeah. Oh, well, here's two things. To also iterate to Tom that I appreciate you running for public office. That's a big accomplishment, but you have a lot of work cut out for you, because right now the focus in going forward is trying to maintain money to move forward. You know, finding what that is and where that is, and the resources to also bring people together to weather this storm from this administration, and to also imply hope that, you know, things might seem bad at this moment and things, but even the bad moments change. Just like good don't stay forever, neither does the bad. And people need to know it's going to change, and that this is not forever with this administration, because they're self-imploding anyway. But here's the thing that the Democrats got to understand. There is nobody right now in the wing for people to look forward to for the next election. There's nobody coming forward with that. And we have to look at that, as well as the Republicans. There's nobody in the wing when Donald steps down. that's going to bring the part that's going to be conservative enough, but also to have some liberalism to know what needs to be in place to bring people together in this country, and to go and to look at these things about affordable housing. Women's going to want their rights back to their bodies. You know, that Roe v. Wade is not over, not by a long shot. You know, so there's a lot of issues that even on the local level, that the politicians that are trying to run for office, you have got to sell yourselves to let people know that you care, that there's hope, and we got to get through this together. We have to pull the resources and know that things are going to get better, that they don't stay this way forever. So that's that one. As for him and Pope Leo, I think Leo said it the best, that Trump doesn't scare him. It's all about the peacemaker. And here's the thing too. I tend to disagree about him being the Antichrist, because the Antichrist is supposed to come out of Syria, out of the Middle East. And Trump is not from the Middle East. So he's not really the Antichrist per se. But I believe that, number one, as strong as the Catholic Church is and the denominations, yes. And especially the people from the Jerry Falwell area, you know, down here in Southern Virginia and those things, they need to address him, because those were the people that put Reagan into office years ago. That whole Falwell movement for, you know, the right wing and all that stuff about, you know, PTL and, you know, Oral Roberts and all of that. Those people are the running gun for the Republican Party at that time. So there's still those people out there that's not being represented as well, the Conservative Party. So Trump is not the answer, and they know it. But here's the thing. They don't have, like you said, Kendall, the cojones to say, this guy is wrong. He's sending people to their death. He's also getting rid of intelligence, you know, our strong intelligence to know what's really going on, because he doesn't trust anything and he thinks he knows it all, you know. And really, it's a shame. Being a formal service person, I really feel sorry for our service members, because you're defending a country for a commander-in-chief that really doesn't know anything about strategically setting America's world stage for war and strategies, you know, and it's terrible. It really is terrible, you know. And when you have lawlessness like with Netanyahu, he's another one that's facing charges. So that's why he wants to keep these wars going, because as long as he keep them going, Israel don't have to hold him accountable for war crimes, because he's done it. You know, it's amazing how we still haven't heard nothing about the Gaza Strip.
I know Ron has got something to say, but we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back off the break, Ron is going to answer some of your questions for you. Okay, brother? Hang on tight.
Sir.
A doctor's calling. A company's mission. United for a greater good. When Edmark International, the pioneers of wellness, joined forces with Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire, naturopath, the world gained a new weapon in the fight for true health. Co-created, science-backed, nature-powered. This isn't just a product. This is a movement. Born from decades of groundbreaking research, naturopathic mastery, and Edmark's relentless innovation.
The body wants to heal itself, and we have just given it the ultimate toolkit.
A detox unlike any other. A partnership unlike any other. The future of health starts now.
All right, we're back. Thank you guys for tuning in. We truly appreciate it. We appreciate all the comments. Please understand that the comments are some of the things that we may say or are based on our opinion. Sometimes they're not based on fact, they're based on opinion. But you know, there is the truth, and then there is the truth, and then there is the fact. So what we try to do here is we do our research and we try to bring you the facts. So this way, for those people who may be misinformed, we can clear things up for you. All right, Brother Ron.
Okay, so I'd like to respond
Brother
to
Ron.
Dr. Brown. Yes, I'd like to respond to Dr. Brown. when you talk about hope, now one of the things I said initially was that in the last days, many would come and say that I am. The Bible also describes a time and a season, the conditions that would be present when it's time for the return. They talk about you won't be able to tell the seasons. I don't know about DC, but I know here in Northeast Pennsylvania, it was 31 degrees Sunday and 88 degrees today in parts of Northeast Pennsylvania. And when you talk about the Antichrist coming from the Middle East, you have to understand there is no Middle East. That was the term that was created. There's no Middle North. There's no Middle South. The Middle East is actually nothing more than Africa, because you can walk from Israel right into Egypt, just crossing through the Rafah border. So the Middle East was the term that was created so they wouldn't have to say that Israel sits on the continent of Africa. So when you talk about where the Antichrist would come from, I don't know if the Bible gives you a true, I guess, understanding of where the Antichrist would come from. It doesn't say specifically. What it does do, it gives you hints. One of those hints is, it says, and I forget the scripture, but it says, wherever the eagles are gathered, there shall the carcass lie. Well, eagles are birds of prey. They don't eat what is dead already. They hunt and kill their own. The symbol of the eagle is the symbol of America. And here the carcass is lying. So when you talk about who Trump is, I think if you dig deep into the scripture, it's clear. When he was in Butler, Pennsylvania, he said he was shot by a high-powered rifle. Now, you said you were in the service. Kendall and I were both in the Army. We know the destructive power of a high-powered rifle. This man put a Band-Aid on his ear. Now, there's a scripture that talks about the dragon. The dragon, it said, was wounded in the head, but the dragon didn't die. Isn't his ear on his head? Well, the dragon, the next day, had a Band-Aid on his ear doing a rally. How do you get shot with a high-powered rifle on Monday, and Tuesday you have a Band-Aid on your ear doing a rally?
Yeah, come on. Don't you believe in the seven-headed dragon?
Well,
somebody commented to it. They said, don't we believe in the seven-headed dragon in the ocean?
The dragon had multiple heads. The dragon had multiple heads, right? But they said the wound would have been fatal. So if the bullet had struck Trump, say, between the eyes, it would have been fatal if there was such a bullet. But he said that the wound was on his head, which is where the dragon was injured. And it talks about the dragon giving power to another creature. Well, who has empowered Netanyahu to make war in Iran, to make war in Lebanon, to make war in Syria, to make war in Yemen, to commit acts of genocide in Gaza? Who has empowered them? What country? What country? Let me just say this.
Go ahead.
What country has voted down every UN resolution against Israel? What country is that will not allow a single resolution in the UN to be passed against the state of Israel? When you know the answer to that, then you will know where the dragon is.
Well, I always say the dragon is right here in the United States, man, ever since.
Well, that's because it's the United States that will not allow a resolution to be passed against Israel. And when we talk about countries on the map that are violators, serial violators of UN resolutions, the country that has the most violations of UN resolutions is Israel, with 96 UN resolutions that have been either violated or completely ignored. And yet our country will not allow a single violation to go forward against Israel. Why is that? Why are we fighting in Iran when we don't get much of our oil from Iran? When Iran poses no threat, when we had an agreement in place going back to 2015 under the Obama administration. Then Trump told us last year in his bombing mission that he obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities. So why are we back over there looking for nuclear capabilities when he told us he obliterated them last year? So who are we fighting this war for?
Well, we know we can't trust
Israel,
anything he
that's what it
says.
seems to be. That seems the same. Seems like we're fighting this war for Israel. But back here at home again, Tom, you were talking about some things that maybe we need to do. When is it time for us to for the election time? Isn't something coming up in May?
Yes, we have the primaries coming up on May 19th, and that's where we need people, Democrats especially, because they're the only ones that can vote for me in the primary, is to write my name in. And it's, as you have written here, is Tom KUCER or Thomas KUCER, either or will be acceptable on the write-in ballot for Pennsylvania House of Representatives, District 176. There will be nothing listed there because I got in late. I only got in about 3 weeks ago. So we'll just have to do the write-in. And then I'll go in November.
Now, I have a question. Are there any other candidates running against?
Oh, go ahead.
Are there any other candidates running against Jack Rader, or are you the sole candidate on the Democratic side?
My understanding, I'm going to be the sole candidate running against Jack Rader. I've been endorsed by the Monroe County Democrat Club, by the Top of the Mountain Democratic Club, and also by the West End Democratic Association. So I don't see any other candidate running to be a write-in as well.
Okay.
We just got a lot of questions on the other side. I'm just checking out some of the comments that are coming in. And yeah, America is wasn't the greatest place. I don't care what anybody say. We're not number one in education. We're like number 27 in education. We're not the best when it comes to the social services, like such as our healthcare. No, we're not the best. We're not the best at quite a few things. And you have to remember where we came from. We came from a chattel slave Jim Crow society. So we had people that didn't mind dehumanizing other human beings. And you think about it, when the slaves so-called got a hold of the Bible and they became Christians, so now you had Christians enslaving Christians. Is that what it was? So these are the type of people that we have here in America. We got a lot of the ancestors, and they're still here. We got a lot of people here that are back from the 60s, which was the segregation time. I mean, I was born and we were still segregated. So you still have that same attitude, and those attitudes have been pushed on to their sons, their daughters, and now they're angry because we say we want reparations. So they're mad at us because they think that we're taking something away from them, which for too many years, hundreds of years, too many centuries, that we've lost so much. We've lost a lot. And when someone tells me something, oh, by the way, today is the Holocaust. We have something for the Holocaust today, just to let you guys know that. But I also wanted to let people know that in Germany, there were a lot of African Germans that were there as well. And over 200,000 of them, as a matter of fact, and they were not treated very well. They were very much discriminated against. And when you look at the policies that Hitler had, he got them from here. He learned everything from right here, Jim Crow America. And even during that time, they had the Nazi party here. So now what do we have here? We had the Ku Klux Klan. We got the Proud Keepers. We got the Oath Boys, all of these different people who still feel that it's okay to oppress other people, who still look at other people and look at them and dehumanize them. Me, I don't know. Like I was telling Ron, we're not unintelligent. We have received some education, but I walk down the street and a person looks at me, I'm a criminal by default, just by default. And that's pretty much anywhere I go in America. So here we got a country that's asking me and young people that look like me to say, hey, let me go fight for my country and to be patriotic. But when you come home, you're not treated like a patriot. You're still treated like a criminal. And I guess that's me for the end of my soapbox. I just wanted to talk to some of those people that are the trolls, as they call them. They're sending quite a few text messages and these comments, which I'm not going to put them up because They're just not worth it. But I just wanted to address them. Okay, that's all. All
Well,
right.
I'm glad you brought up the military because right now there is a push in Washington to make selective service mandatory. It's or mandatory registration with selective service. That was something that has been voluntary for since I was a kid. And now they're making it mandatory. I want to make it mandatory. So we live in a country where there's no mandatory voter registration. They're making it more difficult to vote. They want to do away with mail-in balloting, even though the president votes by mail-in ballot. But they want to make that more difficult. But they want to make sure or ensure that young people across this country volunteer or register for selective service so they can possibly be drafted and sent to someplace like Iran to fight for corporations, to fight for Israel. And that's one of the problems that I see the Democratic Party having. Within the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, a resolution was passed through the House and Senate. That resolution will now provide pensions for veterans of the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, that American tax dollars will pay for. There are so many people in this country who will work 30, 40, 50 years and won't get a pension, won't leave with health care. Yet we are providing pensions for IDF soldiers. We're providing health care for Israeli citizens. We're providing free education for Israeli citizens. And yet both parties are in favor and support this sort of legislation. And it is killing the American people. It is destroying the economy. Every day, this country borrows money to continue to fight unprovoked wars. We're borrowing money to provoke China. So we're borrowing money from China in order to provoke the Chinese. What sense does that make? So when I say our system is fundamentally broken, right, I think we really need to give some real thought to changing a system that has been fair only to rich people throughout its history. Even in this country, when this country was founded, you had to be white, male, and a landowner to vote. And right now, we have a government that is making it more difficult for us to vote. Mm-hmm. So things have to change.
Now, here's the question.
Drastically.
So if voting is not so important, then why are these people constantly trying to oppress our vote? Why do we have these celebrities constantly tell us that we should not vote? You know, and there's another thing that I'm really sick and tired. I really think that the education system in this country, we need to go through a overhaul, if you want to say, okay, because a lot of people honestly have no clue about history. They've been lied to so much that they believe the nonsense they've been lied to. Like, we landed on Plymouth Rock. Okay, why don't you check out Jamestown? Read a little bit more about Jamestown and then really figure out how we got here. And you want to know about the indigenous people here. They're not called Native American. They were here before anything was America, okay? They are the indigenous people. They are the Apaches, the Chickasaw, a whole list of them. And by the way, when the people did decide to come here, if you read some of the diaries, you know, you actually got to kind of do a little reading or studying. But anyway, if you read their diaries, they will tell you that the people that they found here were red people, brown people, and black people. So Africans, black people have been here for a very long time. Very, very, very long time. They were here long before you colonists decided to get off your boat and ride in here. We were already here. Okay.
Well, you know, when you talk about voting and is it important and why do they stress voting? Well, here's the answer. They want you to vote because voting isn't the answer. See, in Europe, a couple of years back, French President Emmanuel Macron wanted to raise fuel prices. They were burning Paris to the ground. They said, to hell with the vote. We are going to show our displeasure and let our government know we are not going to have another dime taken out of our paychecks to give money to wealthy corporations. In this country, instead of doing massive protests, not going to shop, not going to the gas station. America understands that. They don't want you to do that. They want you to come out and vote. And who are you going to vote for? The opposite party. And once you get mad at that party, who are you going to vote for? The opposite party. So you're ping-ponging back and forth against the same people that were there before, right? You're not fundamentally changing anything. Now, if the American people were to say, hey, listen, we're not spending a dime in Macy's, at JCPenney, at all of these major stores, eventually the CEOs would talk to Trump and say, reduce or eliminate the tariffs. We've got to give Americans something to hold on to. We've got to give Americans jobs. We've got to give them health care.
I had a thought, Tom. Well, what do we do about a transportation system here in Monroe County? I see we got the small couple of buses that I see them every now and then. What are we going to do here for a real transportation system here for the elderly, for the people that are disabled? What do we do?
Well, that's what you see. I think is the Pocono Pony. I believe is that what it's called. Now each county has their own. So like Lackawanna has theirs. It's called Colts, and so again, that's. I was down in I think Carbon, and I think they have one that's called GOST, GOST. So each county runs their own transportation system. So again, that would have to be brought up at a county hearing or a county meeting for Monroe County, administration.
Do we bring this up at town hall meetings, or do you plan on having any? Because I haven't. I live in the district, and I have yet once to see a town hall meeting since I've been here. Haven't got any notifications about them. Do you want to have a town hall meeting?
I know supervisor
town hall meeting.
Yeah, they run 10 o'clock on a Wednesday or whatever day they have it is at 10 o'clock in the morning, and most people work. That's why they do that, so nobody has to go there. They have their own. But other townships are 7 at night, 7:30 at night, where they want the people, the residents, to be involved. Our township at Hamilton.
How can we change that? How can we change that?
Vote them out. You vote them out and vote in new. That's the only way you're going to change
Gentlemen,
that.
I have to step off. I have a call from my hospital at this point.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brown.
Thank you, Pastor.
Yes, take care now.
It's always good to have you here.
Please come back.
Almost
we
definitely.
Like to give out our flowers now, so please come back. We truly appreciate you coming. All right, thank you, brother.
All right,
peace.
Take care now. Peace.
Peace.
Bye now.
Boom.
So the only way to eliminate
we're almost at the end of the show now, so that's why I wanted to get more into you as to the things that maybe we need to do and how can we accomplish these goals out here in the 176.
The best way is you got to get out there and vote. You want change, vote for change. And listen, in 2 years, if I'm up there and in 2 years I'm not doing good, vote me out. I'm it's just the way life is. You vote me out if you think I'm not doing good for the community. I'm hoping to. Like I said, I'm really big on this affordable housing. I want to try to see how we can funnel money down into that area. Well, like I said, either to United Way or the Pennsylvania Finance and Housing Agency. They're both nonprofit. They both don't get tax money. So I assume that fees imposed on that tax money. So maybe we can work it that way somehow. That's
there's a simple way to get money into the county. Years ago, and I'm talking after 9/11, the governments of New Jersey and Pennsylvania there was money earmarked to reduce traffic along the I-80 corridor. That money was earmarked for a rail system. Well, under Biden, under the infrastructure bill, more money was allocated for a rail system could connect Northeast Pennsylvania with New York. Now, just imagine if we put in that rail line, just imagine the influx of people going back and forth. Just imagine the number of businesses we could establish here that would increase the tax base, where people would not have to commute into the city, but could make the same or similar money right here in this county, in Monroe. But, you know, what we're doing here, we're just replicating the same business. We keep building things like Walmart. We keep building storage facilities that no one's using, which the government probably wants to turn into detention facilities. But we're just replicating the same things, right? Mm-hmm. When there's so much more that we could do in this county that would bring in businesses, bring in jobs, and also possibly reduce the tax burden on elderly people in this area, right? But if we're going to just keep building stores and things like Sheetz and things like Wawa's, I mean, they're great convenience stores, but it's not what we need in terms of establishing a tax base and driving down cost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted to say something again. So somebody asked me about a relationship, and they were talking, I guess, about what's going on with slavery, because I had something to say about that. So their idea is once a relationship ends, that, you know, we should forgive. Well, first of all, slavery wasn't a relationship. It wasn't like I chose to be here or chose that my ancestors were here. And the sins of the father, yes, they fall on the sins of the sons. You know why? Because the wealth of the father, it was generated to the wealth of the sons and their daughters, and on and on and on. So again, since slavery was here, you've gotten free labor, you've stole, you've cheated, you've done so many things to us throughout history, and even up until today's time. You're talking about as DEI or affirmative action, all this over nonsense, as though we don't deserve to be where we have fought so long to get to. So every little turn, you people stop us. You try to stop us. We build our own. You burn it down. On and on and on again. So please don't tell me about forgiveness, all right? You can forgive somebody. I have no forgiveness. Give me my damn reparations, okay? Give me the reparations that my great-grandfather worked the fields for, and my grandfather was out there working the fields for, and taking all the abuse from your grandfathers and your great-great-grandfathers, okay? So don't tell me that, because I still got to live with what you guys did, and you guys get to live off of white privilege. You get to have that. We don't get to have any of that, okay? Sorry about that, Ron.
Oh, no, quite all right. I think Tom was trying to, yeah, I'm here. I think Tom was trying to respond about the transportation and the infrastructure.
Well, again, for years, you had Frank March sitting on the board of transportation in this area. So, and he owns March Bus Company. He's not going to approve any transportation going through unless he's part of it.
Hold up. Your family has something to do with slavery. Your family, hold on a second, because this is, ooh, man, it gets to me. Don't tell me that your family ain't had nothing to do with slavery, okay? Yeah, your family benefit off slavery. Your family, Bub, benefited off the backs of people that look like me. So please don't tell me that you don't, because when your family went down to go get a job, they weren't turned down just because of the color of their skin. Your family wasn't forced to live in poverty and be impoverished. Your family didn't have a problem crossing the tracks to go to whatever school they wanted to go to. I mean, come on, let's say what it is. Your family ain't crying about no DEI that did not help anybody that looked like me. But yet, people that look like me, we got to be woke and lose our jobs. Don't tell me what nothing benefited you, because it did benefit you. And yeah, it pisses me off. Tired of hearing y'all people with your damn lies and cries.
You know what? Here's the thing, right? Things come full circle. Now, I work at a school district up in Scranton, And one of the schools I was at, the student body, and this is elementary school, student body is predominantly black and brown. And the principal there, she and I were talking, and it's so difficult for her to get basic services for these students. These students need counseling. These students need help with reading, writing, mathematics. And the school board sends all of the money to the other side of town. Well, I said to her, I said, you know what? There was something called separate but equal. And I said, now you're living it. And this is a Caucasian woman.
Okay.
I said, now you're beginning to understand. And in this country, people now are in the same boat. Trump is at the helm of a sinking ship, and all of us are caught up on this ship. We just hit a huge iceberg and the boat is sinking. And yet we have people who want to point the fingers at one another, say, well, you're the problem, you're the problem. Well, the boat is sinking. So you can sit there and argue back and forth, but you're going to drown. Mm-hmm. And I think now that people are beginning to realize, right, that this is about class warfare and not necessarily based on the color of your skin. That was a tactic that was used for a long time in this country. Mm-hmm. But now it is about a class struggle. People, if you go behind Walmart in Stroudsburg or East Stroudsburg, there are families living back there, living in their cars, living in tents. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Poverty is an equal opportunity destroyer. Mm-hmm. Joblessness is an equal opportunity destroyer. Mm-hmm. Drug addiction, alcohol addiction, mental equal health, opportunity destroyers. And yes, mental health, right? So we tried pointing the fingers at one another, and it worked. It worked. It was a tool that the government used to keep people divided. But those of us that are old enough to remember can remember the civil rights struggle. And you know something? There were people from all walks of life, from all skin colors, who understood it's not about me and what I look like. It's about the government, what the government is doing in our names. We're killing people in Southeast Asia in the name of American people. No. And the money that was supposed to go to end the war on poverty, that money went to kill people in Vietnam. We still have poverty in America. If you think about it, everything America went to war with got worse. War on drugs, more on poverty. War on poverty, more poor people. Everything we go to war with, it expands exponentially. And why? Because we're being ripped off. And they do it by telling us you are better than him. So don't pay attention to what I'm doing. Don't pay attention to the fact that the money that's supposed to go to the different municipalities, to the different states, is now going to build Trump's Arc de Trump, or to going to build a ballroom for a man that can't dance. It's time that we wake up and realize it's class. It's a class struggle.
It's a class warfare.
Be careful there, brother, because you're starting to sound a little woke. You know, you got to be careful there, bro. You sound a little woke there, man, you know.
They may come get me. They
may. Tom, we're going to thank you very much for coming on the show. And it was
a pleasure, gentlemen.
It. I hope to see your name on the ballot. I guess I will, because I'm in your district. So I do a mail-in ballot. So right as soon as it gets to me, you know, we'll take care of it. I'll take care of it, brother. All right.
Thank you very much, Kendall.
Thank you again, Tom, for coming along, and we wish you the best of luck in your endeavors.
Good luck, Tom.
Meeting you guys.
Thank you.
My brother, boy, this was a good. No, I dropped him down. This was a good show. I just wanted to tell you it was a good show. Everybody got to say what they wanted to say. Oh, and Marsha, thank you very much. I truly appreciate your comments. I'm sorry about your family and the way things went down. you know, that, like I tell you, this was Holocaust Day, so it's not that I'm not honoring you or your family, because I am. Death is death. Brutality is brutality, no matter who administers it. Okay, so thank you again, and hopefully you stay tuned in. And everyone else, thank you very much for tuning in. I think we had quite a few people tune in today, my brother. What we always say, I'm going to tell you just like it always is. Be yourself, because everybody else is taken. How's that?
That's
Hotep.
perfect, brother. Hotep.
Hotep. Peace.